2 summers ago, I would sometimes, not so often, have dinner with Woody Allen. He usually did not bring Sun Yi. This was about the second time he brought Sun Yi, who struck me as smart. I hope she doesn't watch this, a little chilly. And I suddenly said to her, partly because I forget what I know about Woody Allen, I've never bought into the whole story at all of his fingering or whatever they claimed Dylan.
The rape of his daughter, or the molestation of his daughter when she was what?
Seven.
Five, maybe.
Said,
yeah.
Maybe 5. I said to Sun Yi, why don't you tell your story? You've never been heard from. And she, and I guess he, thought about it for a while because she had been approached before. And then they decided, they agreed. I did endless interviews. I felt like Cy Hirsch on a lower level as I schlepped to Connecticut to interview 2 ex-housekeepers who told me monstrous details about the relationship between Mia Farrow and Ronan, including, and I think there were hospital documents, that she had his legs, I think I wrote this to you, Megan, or not, that she had his legs broken cosmetically. And then, you know, what do they call, put in? Metal.
Yeah, metal splints or whatever, interior, yeah, rods, yeah.
This is for the purpose of what?
And
when did this happen, allegedly? To make him taller?
Make him taller so he could be a political figure.
Is that true? I can't even believe it. Like, that's insane. You had,
I think it's true.
You had. I mean, I've heard those rumors, but it's just like remarkable if it's true.
Well, he claims that Mia Farrow tried to keep nursing Ronan Farrow till 11 or something.
She did.
Yeah.
Very, very late. He slept in her bed. I'm not suggesting they had.
Yeah.
This was the housekeepers who were petrified of Mia Farrow till about 10 or 11. He was totally her construction. He also had a lot of face surgery. That has been, I don't think everyone goes on about it. I don't actually believe he's Frank Sinatra's son, partly because she did not continue to have a relationship with Frank Sinatra. I met him when he was a boy, when he was still, what was his name?
Satchel.
Yeah.
Satchel Paige.
He looked much more, I mean, he was a cute looking boy who you could imagine was Woody Allen's son. He also wears very, very blue lenses. When I interviewed Sun Yi, and a bit Woody, but mainly Sun Yi, the details about Mia Farrow's treatment of the adopted children, 2 of whom committed suicide, a third child is missing, were pathological in the extreme. Specifically, her non-interest in these adopted children. And Moses Farrow has come out, it's been paid no attention, I don't know why. He's come out with a long document about how abusive Mia was.
Huh.
But the reason it was in the news is because there's a slow fissure in the wall around Ronan, you know, with the Ben Smith article in the Times.
Yeah, I'll just summarize that Ben Smith, who's now the media columnist, founder of Politico, now the media columnist for New York Times, wrote a piece. I'm a little mistrustful of some of the reporting, but I get the concept that there's like cracks in the armor of Ronan Farrow, that maybe he exaggerated a bit, or as we were talking about earlier, did not acknowledge any of the complexities in some of these relationships.
Well, Ben Smith called me and we had an hour conversation, and he told me something I didn't even know. He said when I was I knew when I had started the piece, Ronan called Adam Moss. I never knew what he said to Adam Moss. Ben Smith did know and said, he said,
Adam Moss was the editor of the New Yorker, New York Magazine.
Of New York Magazine.
For whom you were writing this piece 2 years ago, just to be clear. Yes, okay.
Piece,
right.
Which many of my well-meaning friends said, don't do it. You'll be tarnished forever. Maybe I was. And Ronan called very early Adam Moss and told him, Ben Smith knew this, that Sun Yi was mentally not deficient and shouldn't be listened to. Ben Smith also knew that Ronan was bullying throughout the process. I don't know, not wrongly, maybe it's my pseudo, I must expose the injustices of the world, but I watched Ronan, what went on with my piece. I had never experienced anything like it. I've written about other contentious, the Kabbalah Center in LA. They threatened to sue the Times.
This was like Scientologists or something. This just again to make sure people are following. So you got this exclusive profile of Sun Yi,
right.
And it was, I think you were promised it would be on the cover by Adam Moss, the editor. And then Ronan, what you're saying is that Ben Smith subsequently reported recently that the Ronan Farrow got wind of it, and then you say bullied Adam Moss not to pull it completely, or
yes,
pull it off
not
the cover.
It.
Yeah, and said because Sun Yi was mentally.
No, that came very early. The cover was a later decision.
Okay.
And what was particularly striking is the magazine was supposed to close on a Wednesday. Somehow Ronan, I don't know who told him, looked up an essay I wrote in a collection called The Fame Lunches, in which I said I identified with wounded famous people, that I was a non-groupie for non-celebrities. And I said that I had had a lunch or two with Woody Allen. I saw him little. I was never invited to a famous Christmas party. I would say he was an acquaintance of some history. Ronan found that piece. I have no idea how. It was included in the Fame Lunches. It was the title piece. And Ronan either emailed or called New York and said I was a besotted fan. And in response to that, it was very shrewd of him. I said to my editor, if I do this, this will be used to attack the story. I had to change. I've known Woody Allen for over 4 decades to I've been a good friend of Woody Allen for over 4 decades, which is not true. Mm-hmm. Ronan then used that to attack the piece, which is why I didn't want to do it, aside from it being untrue. And the last day, they took out everything the housekeeper said. The last day, I sat with, which I've also never done. I mean, I wrote stuff for the New Yorker that they vetted, but I didn't sit for 3 hours with 2 lawyers, as I did from New York Magazine, who went over every single word. Mm-hmm. Again, a lot was taken out. The fear of Ronan, I found maybe clarifying. I mean, the abuse of power by someone who's supposedly, a muckraking journalist, but he went to many, and then I was asked to call me at Farrow to run the story by her. she didn't ever answer. They said I never ran it by her. Sorry, Danielle, I think the time is coming to an end.
Yeah.
So when the Ronan thing came up again with Ben Smith, he interviewed me for an hour. He ended up including none of it. And I decided I want to say something about this. That Ronan isn't only not such a great journalist. I hear he's completely rewritten at the New Yorker. I have no idea if that's true. But went to great lengths to stop a woman from talking.
Yeah.
And I just found it an abuse of power.
But in the end, look, Sun-Yi was what, 19 or something to 21?
She was 20.
To his what, 50 something?
Talk about 30 years between rich men.
But you know, okay,
No.
fine, like you can have your opinions on that, but I felt that he
No, I agree.
he did
wrote in the
betray
piece.
a pact, and I can see that would drive any
Never
woman.
saw her.
Yeah, but I can see that that would drive any woman insane. Like if that was my, like, not only have you cheated on me, you've cheated on me with my daughter. Like that's pretty Greek, you know, like of the Greek mythology. That just, but also, yeah. Sorry. Anyway, that was my takeaway of it.
Right. I'm not excusing it. I said in my piece, it's very morally questionable what he did. Sun-Yi said she agreed that it was a betrayal of Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
Woody Allen, who I described in my piece, which thank goodness he never reads anything about himself, as Aspergian.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really relate. So I once said to him, instead of being angry at Mia Farrow, she had many affairs, she treated him badly. Instead of being angry, I think he ended up doing this.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's forgivable. I will say on their behalf, they have an excellent marriage.
Well, and Sun-Yi, it would also be her revenge if the household was as you described.